Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into Nehemiah chapter 8.
Yeah, it's this really powerful part of the Bible. It shows a community really encountering its own foundational texts again.
Right, after being separated from them for so long during the exile, it's more than just, reading words.
Exactly. It's about how deeply understanding something old can, well, spark real emotion and change how people actually live.
So our mission today is to kind of unpack this moment, see what it tells us about knowledge, understanding, and, well, shared experience.
And the context is so important. These people have literally just come back from Babylon. They've been rebuilding the city walls with Nehemiah.
Physical rebuilding.
But rebuilding walls is one thing. Reconnecting people to their history, their identity, the texts that define them, that's a whole other level.
Mm-hmm.
And Nehemiah 8 really focuses on this one incredible day that kicks off a whole sequence of events. It's a real turning point.
Okay, so it starts on the first day of the 7th month. The text says the people are back in their towns, but they gather together.
Yeah, with this single purpose, in the square by the water gate. And it uses that phrase, as one man.
As one man. That really jumps out. It's not just a crowd, it's unified.
Total unity. And they ask Ezra the scribe specifically to bring out the book of the law of Moses, the one the Lord commanded for Israel.
So there's this collective desire, this hunger, you could say.
Definitely. After all the disruption, they want to reconnect with their core identity, and they know it's in this law. And Ezra, he's the expert, right? Devoted to this text.
So Ezra brings the book out, and it's a big assembly, men, women, everyone who could understand. It's inclusive.
Very inclusive. And he doesn't just stand anywhere. They build a special high wooden platform for this. He's up there with 12 other guys.
Tells you right away, this isn't casual. It's formal, important, central.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the reading itself, wow, from daybreak until noon.
That's hours.
Hours. Just imagine standing and listening intently for that long. The text says they listened attentively.
And when as Ezra opened the book,
Everyone stood up. All of them. It's not just about getting comfortable, it's reverence. Real reverence for the text, for God.
that physical reaction says a lot, doesn't it? Respect for the source itself.
Totally. And then Ezra praises God, and the people respond together, shouting, Amen, Amen, lifting their hands, bowing down. Worship.
It's not just intellectual, it's immediately sacred, communal.
But then comes maybe the most crucial part for understanding how this all worked. The Levites. A whole list of them. They step forward.
Okay, so what do?
While Ezra's reading, or maybe between sections, they instructed the people in the law. The text is super specific here.
How so?
It says, they read from the book of the law of God, making it clear and giving the meaning so that the people could understand what was being read.
Ah, so that's the key. Ezra provides the text, the source material, but the Levites act as guides.
Exactly. They're not just repeating it, they're interpreting, explaining, bridging that gap between the ancient words and the people listening right then.
It's like facilitated comprehension, the original deep dive maybe.
Kind of, yeah. Because it wasn't enough just to hear the words. They had to land, to mean something, to be understood.
And the effect of actually understanding.
Immediate and visceral. The text says, all the people had been weeping as they listened to the words of the law.
Weeping. That seems
Right.
unexpected. Why tears? You'd think returning, rebuilding, hearing the law may be joy.
It is fascinating, isn't it? But think about their history. The exile itself was seen as punishment for not following this law. So, hearing it now, understanding it clearly, it probably brought this huge wave of conviction, sorrow for past failures, maybe regret for the suffering caused by disobedience, the weight of it all.
So, like deep mourning for where they'd gone wrong, a heavy feeling.
Seems likely, but then the leaders, Nehemiah, Ezra, and the Levites doing the teaching, they step in.
And what do they say? Let them weep.
No, the opposite. They say, this day is sacred to the Lord your God. Do not mourn or weep.
Wow, okay, so stop the tears.
Yeah, it's this major moment of reframing. Like, okay, we get why you're weeping, you understand the past, and the law's weight. But that's not the right response for today. This day is holy. And Nehemiah adds that amazing line, the joy of the Lord is your strength. It shifts everything from past grief to present strength found in this sacred understanding.
What a pivot. Commanding joy. Right after understanding triggered tears.
And it wasn't just about feeling differently. It included action. Go and enjoy choice food and sweet drinks, and send some to those who have nothing prepared.
So celebrate the holy day by feasting and sharing. Make sure everyone's included.
Right, and the change is almost instant. The Levites calm everyone down. Be still, this is sacred, don't grieve.
And did it work?
Yes. And here's a really key connection. Then all the people went away to eat and drink, to send portions of food, and to celebrate with great joy because they now understood the words that had been made known to them.
Because they understood. That link is crucial.
Totally. The understanding wasn't just internal, it propelled them into action, celebrating, sharing. And wasn't forced joy, it flowed from understanding.
Okay, amazing first day, but you said it didn't end there.
Nope, this wasn't just a one-off emotional event. The very next day, the leaders, family heads, priests, Levites, they gather again with Ezra
Why, Mayor? What now?
to give attention to the words of the law. They wanted to, dig deeper.
So they weren't satisfied with just the overview and the initial explanation. They wanted more detail from the source.
Exactly, more focused study. And on this second day, they find something really specific.
What did they find?
Written right there in the law they were studying, the command that the Israelites should live in booths or temporary shelters during the festival in the same 7th month.
The Feast of Booths,
Oh.
Sukkot, commemorating the wilderness wandering.
That's the one. And the text didn't just say they should do it, it said they needed to proclaim this command everywhere, in all their towns and Jerusalem.
So the deeper understanding immediately led to a call for widespread communication and action.
Right. And again, the people's response. Just incredible, immediate, large scale.
They were told to go get branches, olive, myrtle, palm, shade trees to build these booths.
Specific instructions, yeah. And the text says, so the people went out and brought back branches and built themselves booths.
And not just a few people.
No, it was everywhere. On their own roofs, in their courtyards, in the courts of the house of God, in the public squares by the water gate and the gate of Ephraim, booths just popped up all over the place.
Wow, that's massive participation.
The whole company that had returned from exile built booths and lived in them. Imagine the effort, the coordination, everyone working together because of what they'd understood from the text.
It really shows how deep that understanding went from day one and then day two's discovery.
And the text makes a point of saying how unique this was. It says, from the days of Joshua son of Nun until that day, the Israelites had not celebrated it like this.
Centuries since they first entered the land. So this wasn't just going through the motions of a festival.
Not at all. It was this unprecedented, enthusiastic, community-wide embrace of something they'd rediscovered and understood in their core texts.
And the result of all this action, this living in booths based on understanding.
The text is explicit again. And there was very great joy.
Very great joy. Even more than the joy on the first day.
Seems so. It reinforces that pattern. Understanding leads to emotion and action, but then the action itself fuels even deeper collective joy.
In this engagement with the text, it wasn't just those 2 days.
No, it kept going. Ezra read from the law, day after day, from the first day to the last, all through the 7 days of the Feast of Booths.
The festival they were celebrating because they'd just rediscovered the command for it.
Exactly.
Right.
And then they had the final assembly on the 8th day, just like the law prescribed. It shows this sustained engagement. It became a rhythm.
What a picture. They gather, hear the source, get help understanding it, react emotionally, first sorrow, then guided joy. That understanding sparks action, celebrating, sharing. Then they go deeper, find a specific command.
Right.
That leads to immediate, huge collective action building and living in booths like never before, which results in very great joy.
All while hearing the text daily throughout the week. It's a powerful cycle.
It really demonstrates the transformative power in these old texts when they're not just read, but truly understood and lived out together.
Yeah, the understanding wasn't just abstract. It reshaped their whole experience, their feelings, their actions, and led to joy they hadn't seen in generations.
And the role of the Levites, making it clear, giving the meaning, that seems absolutely vital.
Couldn't have happened without it seems. Ezra reads, but they explain. That guided understanding was the spark.
It really highlights that, well, just having access to information isn't enough.
Exactly. It's understanding what it means for you right now in your situation, and then, crucially, being willing to act on it, even if it means building a booth on your roof.
And the payoff was huge. That very great joy. An unprecedented moment.
It shows that really digging into foundational sources can bring not just knowledge, but transformation and, well, real shared joy.
So we've journeyed through this intense period, really kicked off by one day, captured in Nehemiah chapter 8. We saw this community encounter their ancient source material.
And move from tears of recognition, maybe sorrow, to celebration, deeper study, massive collective action, and finally, this unprecedented joy.
It really lays out that dynamic. Hearing knowledge, then truly getting the meaning with help and letting that understanding reshape emotions and actions.
Yeah, they didn't just hear it passively. Those Levites were key in helping them grasp the significance. That's what allowed the shift from mourning the past to rejoicing in the present, understanding the sacredness of that moment.
And finding that specific command for the Feast of Booths on day 2.
And the immediate, widespread obedience, building the booths everywhere. It just shows how that deep dive into the text directly fueled collective action, which then led to that incredible joy. It wasn't just reading, it was a catalyst.
So thinking about their whole journey from weeping to joy through understanding and action, this deep dive into Nehemiah 8 really brings up a question for you listening now. What happens when you go beyond just reading or hearing information and really understand the source material you engage with? How does that kind of understanding translate into emotion, into action in your own life? Maybe even in your own community? That's definitely something we're thinking about.